All right, wonderful. Well, thank you all for joining us. I'm Candace Reeves, and I am a program coordinator here at the NSF Energy Storage Engine in Upstate New York, specifically with the translation pillar, which you'll learn more about soon. Some of you I know are already familiar. And at the end, I'll open up for questions. So let's get started. So I'll start with an overview of the NSF Engines program for those of you who may not be familiar. So the Engines program from the NSF is one of the biggest investments the NSF has made in research and innovation. And the idea was to set up innovation engines in areas that need economic development and also are already hubs of innovation. So typically we would not find these in major US cities. And initially they were set up as 10 engines, as you can see here across the United States. Each of which were given $160 million over the course of 10 years, given in phases. So we here at the NSF Energy Storage Engine in Upstate New York are just finishing our phase one at the end of February, so 2 more weeks or so. And then we are looking into moving into phase two. And out of these initial 10 engines, there are 9 engines that are still running. And NSF is now currently evaluating a second round of engines to add to this portfolio. So the NSF Energy Storage Engine specifically, so we launched, like I said, 2 years ago, and we serve this upstate region, which we are defining here by this map of 27 counties. The core partners are a coalition of 4 universities. So that's Cornell University, where I come from, RIT, Binghamton University, and Syracuse, with the lead on the project being Binghamton University. But we are really a coalition of more than 40 industry, community, government partners across the ecosystem, primarily in this upstate New York region. We also have this 10% match from ESD for an additional $16 million in funding for this engine specifically. And there are other programs, so from the Department of Commerce, that are adding to the whole ecosystem. We have New Energy New York, Tech Hubs, Build Back Better. So we have funding from other sources, from, of course, venture capital in the region. So this is what we are working to do. We're bringing all sorts of entities together to improve the ecosystem of batteries in this upstate New York region and bring partners into the region that may not already be here. So our mission as part of the engine, we want to see batteries that are made in America by Americans. So we know that the American battery manufacturing has lost a lot of ground to manufacturing from China and other areas. And of course, there are some great Chinese companies making most of the batteries that we use. But the idea is we need to bring a lot of that innovation and manufacturing back to the US. And that's a lot of what we work to do. We are working to transform upstate New York into America's battery tech capital. And you'll see it in a moment if you're not already familiar with the various programs and pillars and ways that we are working to accomplish that. We do have a lot across the US that is required for doing this, and also right here in this region. And of course, we're not the only ones in the US that are working toward a more secure American battery manufacturing future. So there's a real increase in what's happening across the US. We know what's happening in California with Tesla, and in Nevada, Texas, Carolinas with gigafactories, but we have tremendous resources here in New York with research universities, with test beds, and we need to promote more. What we need to promote more of is the growth of manufacturing. But we're working on growing the ecosystem here in general. We have people, we have knowledge, skills, capital, test beds. This is what we're bringing together as part of the engine to emphasize and highlight the fantastic resources that the engine already has to offer, and then bring more in to increase our capabilities here for companies and the greater ecosystem. So what is the vision for the engine? We want to see a self-sustaining ecosystem that works on innovation, not just with materials. It's not just about discovering the best chemistry for lithium-ion batteries, but it's about understanding what is the innovation across the industry that is needed to advance the ecosystem here. What are new manufacturing advancements that we need? What is the educational and workforce talent that we need? We have a whole pillar dedicated to our workforce development efforts. We want this to be an ecosystem that has resources, investment, et cetera. So if you're a company that does R&D here and needs to test in Korea and needs to work with companies in Japan, we want to build this type of capacity all here in upstate New York, so you do not have to travel far to do what you need in order to develop your products and commercialize. Just moving this toolbar of video cameras. We also want to bring, let me move forward here, the downstream industries engaged in this process. So we need the entire chain of the industry working together. And again, this is not just about the materials, but understanding from research and development, manufacturing, packing, usage of all of it, all the way to recycling. What is it that we need to do in order to invest in so many different areas to advance the ecosystem? So who's involved in this effort? This is our leadership team of the engine. Combination of great people at great universities who come from various backgrounds. So we have Meera Sampath at Binghamton University, who's our CEO of the engine. Heidi Grenick is also out of Binghamton. She was previously at Pure Lithium and at Cornell for a very long time. We have Sir Stan Whittingham, who many of you are probably familiar with. He is our Chief Innovation Officer and also leads our R&D pillar lead out of Binghamton, of course. He's also a Nobel laureate. From Fernando Gomez Becerra out of Cornell leads the translation pillar, which I'm part of specifically. Myra Henry runs our regional engagement effort and is our director there. Tim Thomas works on workforce development out of the Griffith Institute in Rome, New York. And then Matt Ganter is our infrastructure and test beds lead, coming from RIT. So these are our core pillars of the engine. There's one pillar that focuses on RD&T specifically. We don't want to just see research and development on its own, but also with translation. So we can also call it use-inspired research, but the idea is that we want to not just see research and what is developed in a lab, but also how these great advancements in research commercialize and turn into great battery products. Another pillar is workforce development, of course. So that's, like I said, run primarily by the Griffith Institute. And we work closely with Griffiths to deploy resources and programs across educational institutions, so community colleges, BOCES, and other great institutions in the area of service across these 27 counties, so we can bring our workforce efforts not just into our manufacturing. We know that this will dramatically automate, but we also want to bring knowledge to train engineers, to train scientists, and those who will understand how to design and innovate on the systems that we need in energy storage and battery tech in upstate New York. And last but not least, test beds. So this is one of the great things about New York State, which probably many of you here on this call will know, is that we have a great battery prototyping and testing center right here at RIT. But we also have tremendous facilities for characterization at Cornell, at other institutions. We have been holding what we call facilities days that are sponsored by the engine at Binghamton, at Cornell, where we are doing tours of these facilities where you can go in and ask questions, where you can actually, in many cases, bring samples if you wish to be tested on the same day. And if you're interested in being part of these tours, reach out. We'll have our email address later. We're going to be planning and holding a few more of these just this spring at RIT, Binghamton, and Cornell, so that you can take a look at those facilities. So please do reach out. Space is limited. We like to keep these tours relatively small so that they're really targeted and you can really get to see all of the things that we have to offer. But please do reach out if you're interested. So these three pillars work together to deliver value to the companies here. So whether it has to do with maybe your needs are aligned with workforce, or your needs are aligned with testing, or like I said, with needs involved research and development, we span the ecosystem to serve those needs or help you with those needs depending on where you are as an organization. So the RD&T pillar specifically, what are our goals? Um, the whole cycle of innovation, systems management to recycling, this is all important, as I keep saying. We want to leapfrog Asian technological processes. We are not wanting to copy, for example, what CATL does. We will lose. We know that, and we know that the idea is where can we put really interesting investments to instead leapfrog these manufacturing processes. So we're looking for smart innovations across the whole cycle. We need US sourced materials. We know we need great recycling to recover materials. We know we need to reduce solvents and PFAS in our production. We know we want to move away from using so much of certain materials. And this is where we can see innovation, and we want to support this as an engine with directed and specific projects. We're already doing this. I know there's a couple of folks on the call who have been involved in our Superboost projects in year 2 of the engine. Welcome. And we're looking to do more of this in our second phase, which again will start on March 1st. As an engine, we are a 10-year project, but the projects we're supporting, we know that they need to be fast. So with our Superboost projects and our R&D projects, those are typically a year or less because we want to come in and really help you develop or commercialize, in many cases, a product much more quickly than you would have before. So in terms of translation, this may be complicated to do, but like I said, our goal is to accelerate these processes that may typically take 5 to 10 years to market. Our approach is we hope to take 1 to 2 years for you to move a product from one stage to another. So, excuse me, we know that when we have a technology in energy storage that's very promising, we go through lab testing, creating cells, testing, seeing if it works, taking 5 to 10 years to do this. What we're looking for in our projects and our Superboost and MegaBoost awards is for promising technology that we can bring to these programs. So if you apply to any of this at the engine, this doesn't preclude you from winning additional awards. So for example, you may also win a NYSERDA award to also advance your products more quickly. But by the end, you can get to a working product in 1 to 2 years based on both the financial financial grants as part of the engine, but also the other resources that we work to connect you with. So again, we saw this in this past year with Superboost, and we're looking forward to doing this with our MegaBoost, which I'll talk more about in a little bit. It's a new award that we will be working to do in phase 2 of the engine. When it comes to workforce development, like I mentioned earlier, we want to do industry-driven education. So we know we need to train engineers. We have even gone to the state fair where we brought in students who ran university-built cars to try and excite kids and excite the community. So we actually had vehicles at the state fair booth that had been built by teams at Alfred State University and others. So we're changing the idea that communities may have with NIMBYism with batteries. This is something that we approach. We also look to all of you and everyone in the industry to be conduits, saying to high schoolers, to engineers, to community members that this is a great career where you can develop amazing skills, and it's a great place to do it. And this is the workforce that we need to develop so that the workforce itself is ready as we are growing the ecosystem. In terms of test beds, as I mentioned, and again, many of you on this call likely know, we have incredible resources here across the ecosystem at our universities. If you need any characterization or analysis, you can do it at RIT, Cornell, Binghamton. We have partnerships with labs across the state, so Brookhaven, or even folks at Kodak, some of our projects have worked with Intertech. We'll continue to grow these types of partnerships as part of our engine efforts. We also have on our website a pamphlet that we've created with all of the test beds and details of everything that they have on offer, as well as contact information for those test beds, if that's something that you're looking to do or need more information on. So Hallie, I know my colleague Hallie, who's here, will drop a bunch of links in the chat, and you'll be able to find the test beds flyer within there. A lot of links. Yes, thank you, Hallie. Under test beds flyer, there's a lot of links here, but you oh, I jumped the gun, but here is what I was talking about. So we can send you this pamphlet after our Zoom also, with all of this testbed information and their contacts. But I'd like to also highlight one that is coming online later this year, which is Battery New York. This is being built in Johnson City, and it's a technology development and prototyping battery space. So we think about it as a WeWork, so to speak, with manufacturing of batteries. So it can do any type of many different types of lithium, or on the cathode side, many different types of materials. So we want to make sure that this is a partner where you can prove your products are ready and do it at Battery New York. So like I said, we anticipate that this facility will open and launch later in 2026, which is very exciting. And if you're interested in being involved and using Battery New York as soon as it comes online, again, contact us and we can put you in touch with the folks there. So as I mentioned, we're now at the end of the first 2 years of this engine, which is very exciting. We started this in February of 2024. So come March 1st, 2026, we'll start our second phase of the engine, which will be years 3 to 5. So it'll be 3 additional years at that time. So what's happened in the first 2 years is really amazing. We've grown in partners. We now have over 60 partners. We've deployed more than $4 million in research and translation grants. And these have been, like I said, quick 1-year projects that have been deployed in research and development and translation to help companies advance their lab to market or commercialization of what they're developing. We've helped companies in our ecosystem raise $50 million in equity, but also the companies that we have given grants to have raised over $88 million, these startups. So we're really excited about the momentum that we have going into phase 2 of the engine. This is a timeline of many of the things that we've done in the past 2 years. So if you take a look at the whole projection of the ecosystem today, you can see great corporate partners funding the ecosystem. Keep involved in the work that we're doing. Follow us on LinkedIn. Continue to join these information sessions where we have more information each time, and our website, of course, to see what's coming up, because there's a lot of activity in this space, and each month is busier than the one before it with what we're doing and developing. But why is this getting more interesting? So what are we looking at, excuse me, in years 3 to 5 of the engine? In the first 2 years, we focused a lot on traditional ways of awarding money projects. So we did RFPs for R&D projects for our Superboost translation awards. We didn't do RFPs. It was a bit more nimble and a bit more quick, but we are putting effort into funding. We are putting effort into funding early stage projects. So how do we anticipate that will shift? We will focus more on what is the final solution that a customer wants to see. So we're really shifting our mindset and our focus to be really customer-centric. We are looking to drive technology that is coming from startups or services that need to be going to partners or consortia, that needs to be developed for the industry. And we need the pull to happen, not just the push. So what do we mean by that? We need the pull coming from a customer saying, I need this solution. Not just a company saying, I've developed this product. So if you're a larger corporation, then this is your opportunities to say, I need a company to help me understand how to solve a specific problem for my needs and understand what's out there. If you're a small company, I know that it can often be hard to get to these larger corporations. So we will also be a conduit to do this. This is a model that already exists, and there have been great, incredible leaders in this space who have been doing this for a long time. So we were inspired by efforts by New York Creates or back in the day with Semitech. We want to be the leaders in the space for solving problems in battery tech innovations. And we want to understand from large corporates what they need and then connect them with solutions. Like I said, whether that's researchers or startups or building a consortia with other industry players, we as an engine will help solve these problems for the industry and help make these connections to do it. At the end of the day, what we're selling is, and what we have is some of the best in the industry. It's you. It's everyone in our institutions. We have some of the best people in New York. We're so full of amazing, brilliant people who know how to solve problems across the entire value chain. And we're going to solve these real problems and make sure there's a commercial pull while doing it. We hope it's going to be a lot easier for you to deploy your solutions and products to the customers who will buy it. So in planning for phase two, what we did is identify what we believed at the engine are the key areas across the battery industry where we think there's a great need. So although we will continue to be agnostic in helping industry players, depending on what their needs are, we already know and have identified these four main pillars where we know that core problems exist. So safety, power engineering, advanced manufacturing, and AI. So when it comes to safety, we all know there's a lot of requirements for safety, not just in solid state materials, but safety of packing, cooling systems, maybe better control of fire suppressing systems, again, to help reduce NIMBYism. We already have companies in our ecosystem saying that we have needs to be met today. We have FDNY saying that e-bikes are an explosion risk and they need support in developing solutions. There are tons of entities that have come to us with needs that we are ready to help solve. And what is the technology behind it? That's often up to you, to the startups in our ecosystem, or even larger industry players or researchers. You have an idea or a technology, and we want to support you in making the connections, but also the money to help you speed up the solutions to get there. Power engineering. So again, another very important one. Batteries are usually pretty good with energy density, but it's difficult to get a lot of power out of them. If you try to draw a lot of power out of them, it can be unsafe. So we want more power. We want to make sure there's more work related to the grid. We know the grid is going to have a lot of load as data centers continue to grow. We know this is a growing demand and need all across where we are. So this is a great opportunity for us to deploy energy storage systems that can support these growing demands. Again, we have companies that are already coming to us with these needs. We already supported a company, Ioxis, in development of a product as part of Superboost in year 2 related to these type of things that we're talking about. So it's an exciting and a necessary area that we're focusing on. Advanced manufacturing, our third bucket, or you can call it leapfrog manufacturing. The idea is reimagining manufacturing so that anything we do with manufacturing batteries is not the tech of today, but the tech of several years from now. So we have people doing innovative ways of doing real dry processing. We have people reimagining of electrolyte processes in manufacturing. So Corning is doing this right now, and others. So anything that will help us reimagine manufacturing and will strengthen and speed up these processes and especially make it more efficient, cost efficient, resource, energy efficient. Software is big here too. So it can also be innovation in robotics and control systems, anything that has a vision of jumping more than a few years ahead of what we already are doing today. And last but not least, AI. So the fourth one is very topical nowadays, of course, in everything, but it's the use of energy storage and AI. We already see companies using AI for better materials discovery or looking into manufacturing and design, charging and discharging, making things better and more efficient, the deployment of systems and controls. We want to be part of the support system of tech that needs to be used and developed for this. So once again, this is an area where the engine can step in and help make these connections. We didn't invent this. We know that there are already great things happening here. But we also know that this is the way that the world is going. And we're already supporting companies in delivering on innovations to reimagine AI and energy storage to solve, important problems. So how do we do it? We have a few ways of working, and there's a lot of text here. I think Hallie will send these slides as a follow-up to anyone who attends so you can dig deeper. But we have these four main menu options, and again, we can work in a hybrid of these options, but we essentially have four main ways in which we engage with partners. So first, if a larger industry player, for example, has an unsolved problem and they need help figuring it out. So an example that sometimes we use is, let's say Space Force comes and says, I need to deploy a satellite, but none of the current solutions on the market are adequate for us. So we could go to researchers, universities, and put money into faculty members who are developing great things to help solve this particular problem. Or, for example, number three, seeking a startup solution. We can go to a startup who is already working on a solution that already exists for something like this and make that connection. So that would be this tech startup validation of number three. Number two is, say you have a technology that you have developed as part of a larger industry player, but you want to deploy it, and you think that it's tech that can be used. We can create these sponsored projects for engineering and integration. And the final, number four, I mentioned this earlier, but we'll look for specific solutions where we can bring together organizations that we already are partners with, to create a coalition or consortium where it's really necessary and where that type of model will be what helps us move forward in the industry. So we'll likely do this with safety. That's a big topic that will require a large-scale effort across many entities that we already know. Charging is another need that cuts across many different entities in the ecosystem, for example. Here are examples of many companies that we work with in their TRLs that in the first 2 years of the engine that we have helped to fund through our R&D or Superboost efforts. So the engine is really focused, you'll see here, on companies in the TRL 1 through 6-ish stages. I know some of our partners, such as NENY, focus more on later stages of companies, such as 6 through 9 in some cases. But of course, we have partners that work across the whole ecosystem. You're going to see us really focus on TRLs 1 through 6-ish, but there are other resources in the ecosystem that work on 6 through 9 TRL, so later stage companies. But again, really, we're looking to serve the whole ecosystem of partners. So we already have, like I mentioned, lots of industry partners that we're speaking with that have these needs, whether it's GE, Kodak, Corning, LG. We have conversations with these industry players, and they're coming online with needs in energy storage. So this is what we're looking forward to later this year, not even later this spring. We've also developed a couple of really useful tools that will have been in that message that my colleague Hallie sent in the chat, and we can also send as a follow-up. So the first tool that we've developed that will be advantageous for many of you to use is called Engine Guardian, and this was developed in partnership with folks at MITRE. And this tool was built to help you assess your supply chain risk. Anyone can access this tool via our website. And it's divided into two separate assessments based on TRL 3 through 5 or TRL 6 through 9. But certainly you could take either or both to assess what the tool is asking you for each. But if you're a larger company, you may need to use this tool to make sure you understand risks as policies are changing, as many of us know, and come through and are changing things, and understand how you can have better partnerships with companies so you don't encounter supply chain disruptions. So how the tool works is if you go to our website and go to this URL, you can click through, and it's a series of questions for you to answer. The tool then gives you recommendations based on your responses of how you should prioritize making improvements to your supply chain operations today. There's also the ability for you to download those recommendations, and the PDF that it spits out to you is built in a checklist format. So you can literally go through one by one and check off those things if you feel as if they're relevant for your business. We don't collect this data, so this is for your eyes only, but this tool is free and open to use for anyone, whether you are a startup, a larger company, or someone else in the ecosystem who is curious or could benefit from this tool. The second tool, and I saw that we have Carly here from New York Best, so thanks for joining us here, Carly. So the second tool, there's two parts to this tool. On the right here is an AI tool that the engine has developed that helps you understand who in the ecosystem you can become connected with to help improve your operations. This AI tool is built on top of the screenshot on the left, which is a really incredibly robust supply chain database that was developed by New York Best, called the Battery and Energy Storage Supply Chain and Ecosystem Resource Database. And this database is a wealth of information and resources across products, services, academia, incredibly comprehensive database where I know resources are being added to all the time. In energy storage in the New York State region and beyond. So a really, really great tool for you to know and use, for you to list yourself in. So it's a self-reporting, self-registering tool. So if you go to this link that will be in the chat, but also is linked through our website, and you can register your company to be part of this database so folks can learn about what you are doing and access your resources and can connect with you. I started with the tool on the right. I'll just jump back into that. So the AI tool is built on top of this database. And so you can use the database on the left and go through filters in a search function, or you can use this AI version of the tool, an AI agent, and ask it a very specific question. For example, here we ask the agent, I have a silicone add-on company, I'm looking for testing facilities, and it gave me a list of resources that I can use with specific, information or even contact information. So please use these. They're free and open for anyone to use. And we developed them to help you get connected to the people that you need to be connected with. The third main tool, maybe I'll show, though it's in a different sense of the word, the third thing you'll see coming, and many of you will know that the project that predated this one, Superboost, and many of you now on this call are familiar with MegaBoost as well. Superboost predated MegaBoost. Superboost is where we gave grants of between $100,000 and $200,000 to startup companies for a project that they wanted to do. They sent us a 2-pager. We worked with them to develop a project rather quickly and deployed the money pretty quickly. If it made sense, you had a customer relationship, we would deploy money as fast as possible. And it's been working out quite well. We deployed $1.4 million across 12 projects in 2025, excuse me, which is coming to an end at the end of February of this year. So thank you if any of you have been involved in that effort. With MegaBoost, we want to do somewhat of the same thing, but with more fuel and more power behind it. It's going to be grants between 500 and a million, 500, $500,000 and $1 million. But we want projects that are really focused on customers. So I'm bringing it back to that point that we made earlier, that we really want the engine in the phase 2 to be really customer centric. We don't want projects that say, we'll build a material and then see if someone buys it. We need you to work with a customer and have a customer committed to buying your product at the end of the MegaBoost. We want the customer to be involved in the process. And essentially, we're looking to prove scalability in what you're doing because we think it benefits us all, both your company, the ecosystem as a whole. So we intend, like I said, for this to be in full swing later this spring. And we are waiting for approval from the NSF in order to kickstart this program. So we're very excited about it. I'm very excited about this program, really looking forward to getting it started. So you are part of the future of Upstate New York and being America's battery capital. So we already have the best people, resources, test beds, and money to accomplish this. And we are looking forward to kickstarting phase 2 of the engine to deliver on all of these projects and more. And we want you to be part of it. So contact us here. Again, this should be in the chat. You can visit our website for more information, a lot of this information that I already said here, or connect with us on LinkedIn. We post a lot of our events on LinkedIn. Like I said, our facilities days that we have upcoming in later in the spring, both at that should be at Cornell, RIT, and Binghamton University. If you'd like to take part in those further information sessions, we have sessions just like these, but we have others as well. For example, we held one recently specifically on those products of the engine, where we went into depth on the supply chain database and the supply chain risk assessment tool. So we have other webinars or events that we try to hold in order to bring these resources to all of you. So please follow us, connect with us, and be part of our ecosystem. With that, I'm going to stop my screen share because it makes it easier for me to see all of you for questions. And I will hang out in case there are any questions or comments, and hopefully I can answer them. And if not, I will get you the answers that you need. Anyone, questions or comments?
I'm not sure if the audience here is primarily people from the industry, but I am a faculty member at Cornell. So I had a question is like, what can faculty members do to kind of help support this initiative?
That's a great question. So in phase 2 of the engine, like I said, one of the big menu of services that we'll do, or menu items that we have for industry, is when industry comes to us with a question, and we do believe it's a problem that can be solved with faculty members, we will take it upon ourselves to help find those faculty members and connect with folks like yourself in order to make those connections to have sponsored research projects to solve those problems. So email us at that email. I would love to connect with you, with Fernando, our director of the pillar, to kickstart the conversation, learn what it is what you do, so we can start that connection and already know what it is how we connect you with folks when those problems arise. So I would say that's the best way to go about doing it. Thank you.
Thanks.
Hey, Sergio Baron here.
Hi.
From Dynami. Two things. One is I would like for the engine to have some way for the startups to update their progress. For example, I just seen your slide where Dynami is on TRL3 of a project that we have done with NSF engine, but
Yeah.
that is particular to that project.
Yeah.
Because we are frankly into TRL5. Our product has been tested and integrated at a commercial client, but our product is not the product, It's the project we did with NSF engine. It was a let's say like a side project, like an enhancement using. So there's a disconnect there. And
totally
secondly,
understand. Yeah. Thanks for that.
and secondly, as I put on the chat, committed is a big word for a large corporation with a battery startup. We are all I see a bunch of battery startup founders here. We are living in the battery startup carnage era right now. They're dropping like flies. And being said so, what a client looks is that the company will survive to be able to deliver the product. So, like committing, you probably can get an LOI, an MOU, that type of commitments, but like a contract of offtake of product out of a like, let's say, like sub $10 million financing startup, very difficult to happen.
Yeah, I completely understand, Sergio, and I know that I believe we've already been having conversations about you've already been talking to Fernando about this, I believe, which yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I think that's part of the intention of having us be so customer centric and wanting us to have a commitment from a customer is because what we don't want to happen is to fund projects where the customer says, "Oh yeah, looks great," and then in the end does not purchase the product. Right? Because we do know that that is where companies will fail. So I completely understand what you're saying. We're doing what we can to um, work with customers in many cases. In some cases, we're getting on calls and having conversations and with customers and being a conduit and a connective piece to engage and have to try to develop these projects that will make sense for all parties. But I hear you. This is one of the difficult.
Okay, I take your word. I will use that help.
Feel free to email us.
Yeah.
I see a raised hand here. Oh, and 1 second, Sergio, to your first point, totally hear you on the TRL versus your company versus the project that you worked with us on. So I took note of it. Feel free to email me or Prachi. I believe it's Prachi that you work with at the engine, and we'll get that sorted.
By the way, the results are great. We are super happy.
Wonderful. Congrats.
Hey,
Chengmin.
hello.
Hi.
Hello. This is Changmin from Syracuse University. So I'm also a
Hi.
faculty here.
Wonderful.
And nice to meet you, and this is a very wonderful information session. So for this 500K to a million grants, so I was wondering, what's the submission window, or how quickly will the grant be available?
Great question. We are currently reviewing proposals for these, so please reach out to us. I have a one pager. Hallie, I wonder if we put that in the chat. I believe we didn't, but email us at upstateny/engine@cornell.edu. I'll put that in the chat again. And I have sort of an overview of the Mega Boost program that I can send to you, so you can take a look in a little bit more detail of what we're looking for. But that sending us a two pager really is what we tend to see on what your potential project is. We're doing on a rolling basis. So we're having conversations. We can chat about your idea first. Happy to hold a Zoom call and talk through it. And then we're reviewing them on a rolling basis. The Mega Boost projects we intend to have over the next 3 years of the phase two of the engine. So the intention is that it won't be a set, like RFP timeline, but that we will continue to roll out these Mega Boost projects over the next 3 years. So we review proposals on a rolling basis, I guess is my best answer.
Okay, understand. All right. So because I'm from Syracuse University, so there's no we need to go through, for example, the university point of contact or just direct contact you, or is there like a procedures?
Oh yeah, no, feel free to email me directly.
I see. Okay.
At Upstate New York Engine at Cornell, I'll receive that.
Okay, thanks.
I'll receive the email there. Thank you. Thanks for the question. I saw GJ, you had a question in the chat. What's the timing for the NSF engine phase two approval? How can you help support the team to ensure approval? Well, thank you. Thank you for wanting to support us. Phase two will start March 1st. We believe we're in a strong position for being awarded that phase two. But we hope to hear by the end of the month. So that's the timeline that we're working with. We believe we're doing great things, and we believe we're in a strong position.
Perfect. Yeah. And anything, just reach out if we need to provide support or anything. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, GJ.
Likewise, anything we can help. I think many of the startups here also we wrote a letter originally to obtain this the original NSF money. So anything we can help further down the road,
Thank you.
Count on us.
Thank you, and thank you for your support. This work goes both ways, and thank you for your support throughout the process and being part of our programs, all of you. All right. If there are no further questions, all those resources are in the chat. Please email us. We're happy to get on Zoom calls. It's chat through what you're thinking. We do that a lot. My colleague James here and I both do that a lot.